This week, we saw fierce fighting in Aleppo, Syria's second largest city before the war started. In the beginning of the week, it looked like the regime with Russian support was going to potentially take back Aleppo. They'd fully encircled it. And then, of course, a day or two later, the opposition forces were able to break the siege and have been fighting back fiercely. Reinforcements have been coming in from both sides. Many have been predicting the fall of Aleppo not only this week, but many other times. If Aleppo is to fall, or if Aleppo is to be taken by the regime, many would see that as a beginning of the end of the opposition and potentially the end of the civil war, with Assad staying in power. Personally, I don't buy that argument. Aleppo is a very large city. It's hard to encircle it fully. There are many different ways to get into the city. Also, because even if Aleppo were to fall, the opposition is so fragmented, there's so many different militia groups fighting inside Syria that there will likely be many other pockets of insurgency throughout the country. I suspect we'll hear about Aleppo almost falling many more times in the future, unfortunately. What's interesting also about Aleppo is that the US, the UK, and other Western countries have been supporting civilians inside Aleppo for the past few years now. This means paying salaries of sanitation workers, of teachers, of doctors, and others. And what is so unfortunate about this fighting and about Russia joining in bombing Aleppo with helicopter gunships is that the very people who need to be in Aleppo when the war is over, in other words, the municipal workers, will all be gone or killed. I think what needs to happen to finish this war, to bring the political parties to the table, is the U.S. needs to put much more pressure on the Syrian regime through Russia, which is its main partner right now. Of course, Iran is another supporter of the regime, but Russia has the capability and the capacity to push Assad to the negotiating table. They don't seem to be remotely interested in that right now. I think they really believe that they can win militarily, and so there's no need to negotiate. But unless the Russians can't put pressure on Assad, and unless the Americans can put much more pressure on the Russians and on Assad, I don't think we're going to see an end to this conflict in the near future, unfortunately. The real tragedy of this civil war is not just the hundreds of thousands of civilians who've been killed, but it's also on a slow burn. And so what we're finding is a country is being depopulated of civilians. They're all moving to neighboring countries and going to Europe and elsewhere, and being repopulated by terrorists and other militia groups from all over the world.